Chloe, aren't you on a business trip in New York? Why are you here wearing a wedding dress?
Ethan, how dare you utter such shameless words? Since you always choose Lila over me, I'm granting your wish. You can stay by her side day and night from now on.
Ethan Carter and I were at the Suffolk County Court marriage registry. We were just one photo away from getting our marriage license when he was called away by a phone call. He left me alone at the marriage registration counter, stuck between a rock and a hard place. I called him, but he didn't answer. I texted him, but he didn't reply. Finally, I found the number of his childhood friend, Lila Moore, and called only for Ethan to pick up.
Chloe Bennett, please stop calling and disturbing.
Leela sprained her ankle and I have to take care of her today. Could you stop calling to bother her rest? We'll reschedule our license appointment.
This is the 7th time we've rescheduled.
So what? The court is right there. It's not going anywhere.
My face was expressionless, but my heart felt like it was being torn apart.
Are you sure you want to do this, dear?
The clerk asked me sympathetically if I still wanted to proceed. I nodded gently. Yes, I do. I called my best friend Zoe Parker's brother and agreed to his request. After hanging up, I told the clerk to give me a moment. Just as I was still stunned, Zane arrived. As he rode a matte black Harley-Davidson motorcycle and stepped inside wearing his helmet, he immediately caught the attention of many people.
Do you understand now? Are you willing to enter into a sham marriage with me just to deal with the family problems?
I nodded faintly. Truth be told, it was not merely to evade family pressure to get married. The core reason for this marriage was to ease my grandfather's worries before he passed away. Grandpa Arthur's health had rapidly deteriorated half a year prior. He stayed in the general hospital every single day, and every time he saw me, he would keep asking when I planned to marry.
When will you get married? I want to see you in a wedding dress and witness you walk down the aisle with my own eyes. That way, even if I'm gone, there will still be someone to love and cherish you.
Yes, I'll get married as soon as possible.
That was why I had been pressing Ethan to marry me starting half a year ago. We'd made intermittent trips to the courthouse 7 times, yet every single attempt ended in failure for one reason or another. The last time, Lila got her period and suffered severe menstrual cramps, so we had to rush home to buy her hot cocoa. The time before that, Lila locked her car keys inside her vehicle and couldn't get back home, so he needed to deliver a spare set of keys. The occasion prior to that, Lila grew hungry and craved Quincy's lobster rolls, forcing him to rush over and queue up for the food. All 7 cancellations were down to Lila, each time prompting Ethan to abandon me without a second thought. Ironically, I had given him 7 separate chances. This time around, I was done compromising. Ethan, I gave you your chances, 7 in total. All preliminary formalities went smoothly when Zane and I applied for our marriage license. Just as we prepared to take our official wedding photo, my phone pinged with an incoming message. It was from Ethan. Zane shot a glance my way and asked lazily,
Do you want to continue?
I drew a deep breath and replied with an impassive expression.
Yes.
Once all paperwork was finalized, I said to Zane,
How are you tomorrow? I have something I'd like you to come with me on.
Please contact me by phone if you need anything. Who knows? In just a couple of days, my grandfather might need your help too.
My 7-year romance with Ethan, 4 years in college plus 3 years after graduation, had ultimately fallen apart. Meanwhile, I'd gotten married to my best friend's brother after only meeting him once. On the ride home, Ethan messaged me again alongside an attached photo. The dining table was laden with an abundance of delicious dishes. Sure enough, upon arriving home, the table was in a messy state with every last scrap of food completely eaten up. Standing nearby, Lila put on an innocent, pitiful look and spoke to me.
Sorry, sister. It was all because I was too hungry and couldn't resist eating first.
Even slow-witted as I was, I could tell she was deliberately provoking me. Blood rushed to my head in an instant. my hands clenched into tight fists with sharp fingernails digging deep into my palms. Lila and Ethan had been childhood sweethearts ever since they were little. That explained why Lila always occupied the top priority spot in Ethan's eyes. In the beginning, our relationship from meeting to falling in love had progressed seamlessly. We rarely argued. On the rare occasions we did, Ethan was always the first to back down and comfort me. He would take full responsibility instantly, even when the fault wasn't mine. My best friend Zoe had envied me repeatedly for landing a man who doted on me as much as Ethan did. But that envy came to an abrupt halt half a year ago. Ever since Lila entered the picture, his affectionate treatment toward me had shifted entirely.
Chloe, why are you just coming back now? I remember I reminded you a long time ago.
I was delayed by something on the way, so I'm back late.
What could be so important that you missed me time?
No problem. The company asked me to travel to New York on business and to pack my luggage upon return.
I had no intention of telling him about my recent marriage. Now that I'd resolved to leave him, Ethan was nothing more than a stranger from that moment onward. But the second I pushed open the bedroom door, I was stunned by what met my eyes. The neatly made bed I'd tidied before leaving was all rumpled, and the closet had been ransacked in disarray. I could overlook all of that, but the handcrafted Cape Cod lighthouse ornament my grandfather gifted me, sitting on the nightstand, had snapped clean in half, tiny shards scattered all across the floor. I could no longer hold back and called out Ethan's name sharply.
Who has been in this bedroom? Who knocked over my things?
It's just a handmade item. I'll ask someone to put it back together for you later.
I froze for a split second. That indifferent tone sounded exactly as if I meant nothing to him at all. From that single sentence, I knew for certain Lila was the one who'd wrecked the ornament. Only she warranted such blind, unreserved protection from Ethan.
Was broken by Lila, right?
My calm single line was like tossing a lit match into Ethan's keg of gunpowder.
Do you have evidence to prove that it was Lila who broke it? Maybe it just fell down on its own because it was not properly installed. Don't just open your mouth and falsely accuse others. Before you say it was Lila, you should at least present some evidence or I'll sue you for slander.
I nearly bit through the soft flesh inside my mouth, the thick metallic tang of blood flooding my tongue. He really would go to any lengths to shield her. One casual remark from me and I was already facing a defamation charge. But Ethan hadn't always been this way, half a year prior. I fell head over heels for him on a rainy night. I was involved in a car crash, and he sprinted all the way to the accident site without so much as an umbrella. That refined, well-mannered man cast aside all restraint that night, shouting by the roadside and getting into a physical fight with the driver who'd hit my vehicle. What had happened to turn him into this person? I chose not to escalate the fight further. Just as Ethan claimed, I possessed zero evidence to prove Lila had broken the lighthouse. I crouched carefully on the floor to gather the broken fragments and collected the two separated halves of the lighthouse figurine.
Brother Ethan, please don't quarrel with your sister. It wasn't my doing, but if you want to blame me, sister, go ahead. No one has ever liked me since I was a dild, so it's only natural that you don't like me either.
I did it. So what? Rage surged through my head, and I shoved Lila away. Yet before my hands made contact with her body, she tumbled onto the floor with effortless ease. Her gauze-wrapped injured foot smacked precisely against the nightstand. The next second, Lila burst into tearful sobs.
Sister, I just want to help you.
Before I could process what was happening, Ethan grabbed fistfuls of my long hair roughly. He glared at me with a ferocious expression and piercing eyes as if he wanted to kill me.
Even if you don't like Lala, there's no need to hurt her like this. Besides, she's still ill right now.
With my hair painfully pulled, I was forced to crane my neck upward to stare at them.
I didn't touch her at all. I didn't touch her at all.
You're still lying even now? Chloe, do you think I'm blind? I was right behind you and I saw it with my own eyes. First you framed Leela, and now you've pushed her down. How come I never knew before that you're such a heartless and cruel woman? You're simply vicious.
My breath caught in my throat, leaving me unable to utter a single word of rebuttal. Nothing I said would convince Ethan at this point, regardless of my explanation.
No excuses now, Chloe. You're truly a venomous woman.
Ethan stared at me with evident disappointment. Contrarily, I felt immense relief. Any last shred of hope I'd clung to for him was finally gone for good.
How dare you compete against me?
Lila lifted into Ethan's arms, shot me a triumphant glance, and mouthed a silent phrase I read clearly. I staggered to my feet, catching sight of my burning red cheek marked by the slap reflected in the dressing table mirror. The handprint remained sharply defined. It was plain to see how furious Ethan had been, and how much force he'd used to strike me. I let out a bitter laugh and wiped away blood trickling slowly from the corner of my mouth. That single slap shattered every last fantasy I'd once held on to. I took advantage of his absence to gather all my clothing and pack them into a suitcase. I took every belonging I could carry and tossed all leftover junk straight into the trash bin. Before leaving, I contacted a real estate agent and listed the apartment online for sale. This property belonged solely to me. My grandfather had purchased the South Boston apartment using his pension fund. I'd originally planned to use it as my marital home. Now there was no reason to keep it. Anything tainted and spoiled disgusted me. I planned to spend all my remaining time by my grandfather's side for his final days. On our way to the hospital, Zane and I pre-planned lines to fool my grandfather. I'd brought Ethan to visit Grandpa previously, so Grandpa knew Ethan was supposed to be my fiancé. To spare Grandpa unnecessary worry, I'd asked Zane to pretend to be Ethan and hide our real marital arrangement. I never anticipated he and Grandpa would hit it off so well. They chatted about life from Grandpa's younger years all the way to modern artificial intelligence technology. Grandpa was visibly reluctant to see us leave when our visit wrapped up. He held my hand and patted the back of my palm gently.
It's much more reliable than Ethan's.
Grandpa, did you get it wrong? He is Ethan.
Your grandpa here isn't senile yet. I still know whether it's a person or not. Grandpa doesn't know if he can hold on until the day of your wedding banquet.
Grandpa, don't worry. We're easing married and the wedding banquet is being prepared. You definitely make it.
I knew it. It's not that kid Ethan, but Zane Parker, right? That's a great name.
I shot Grandpa an annoyed, playful glare before stepping out of the hospital ward. Zane waited for me in the corridor, appearing to have just gotten into an argument with someone. Stepping closer, I saw his opponents were none other than Ethan and Lila.
What did my girlfriend do wrong? I apologize to you on her behalf. But as a grown man, how can you bully a woman like this? Have you no shame? If you've done something wrong, you should admit it. If everyone were like you, what we need the law for? Just because you're a woman, does that mean you can do wrong?
Ethan and Lila were left speechless by his retort. Ethan spotted me the moment I stepped into view. A flicker of panic flashed across his eyes, yet he quickly suppressed it, putting on a casual front and hurrying over to grab my arm to speak first.
Chloe, you came just in time. Just and Lisa accidentally spilled coffee out here and Hichu Anley claimed that this suit was worth over 1,000. You think this is extortion? Don't you have a sister who's a lawyer? Let's sue him for extortion.
Lila nodded matter-of-factly, without an ounce of remorse.
We will sue him for extortion and demand compensation for our mental damage.
Zane looked at me with an amused grin, and I couldn't help blushing.
Your friend?
I shook my head immediately.
No. His clothes are worth over 10,000, and the lawyer you mentioned is his sister.
With that, I strode out of the hospital, wanting zero further interaction with Ethan. Whatever negotiations followed between them were none of my concern. In the weeks afterward, Zane busied himself arranging our wedding reception. Meanwhile, Ethan texted daily asking when I'd return from my supposed business trip.
I've picked a time and want to invite you to go get our marriage certificate.
I'm busy on a business trip.
It was too late. I no longer needed that commitment. The wedding day arrived quickly. I stood inside the church venue dressed in my wedding gown. A familiar voice sounded from behind me, tinged with surprise and unease.
Chloe, aren't you on a business trip in New York? Why are you here wearing a wedding dress?